what are the most important constitutional rights of women in India.
Right to property, right to freedom of speech, right to education. Problems which women faces, they don't get support from. Men can also ask for maintenance.
What exactly qualifies as dowry under Indian law? Today, we are here to discuss a topic that is not just informative but very empowering. Every woman deserves to feel safe, respected, and protected no matter in what space they are, whether it is home, it is office, or any other place. Many women do not know the powerful legal rights they have. So, to discuss this topic, we have among us lawyer Samarpita Das. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let's dive further into the topic and ask her some very important questions. Ma'am, every single day we come across many women who, in general, share that they have faced some kind of problem but they could never approach the law. So, based on that, I would like to ask you one question. So, beginning with what are the most important constitutional rights of women in India?
Constitution ensures many rights, not only for women, but for every individual, every citizen of India. As per Constitution, every individual is equal before law. Rights like right to property, right to freedom of speech, right to education, equality before law, equality in employment. So, as per Constitution, all the rights are covered for every individual. But yes, Article 15(3) gives the state power to make some special provisions for women, and for out of which some acts have been enacted, such as Dowry Prohibition Act or Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act,
Right.
POSH Act, and many more.
So, ma'am, given all these rights, we talk about women's rights. So, are women's rights any different from the fundamental rights of a human being living inside India?
Women rights and fundamental rights are distinctly connected with each other.
Okay.
Fundamental rights are protecting the rights of every individual, every citizen of India, so anyone can avail them.
Okay.
But women rights are something which is specifically made for the protection of women, for the betterment of women, so they can be availed only by the women
Right.
specifically.
Right.
So both of them are connected, but from fundamental rights only, women rights derive.
Okay. But, ma'am, when we are talking about women's rights, approaching the legal procedures, taking actions, there are still a large majority of women who do not approach the law. There are so many women who face so many difficulties in their lives or any situations that have been unfair to them. But why is it that they do not approach the law? Why do they hesitate so much?
Hesitation begins from family. When a girl child is born,
Right.
she is always taught how to behave with others,
Right.
what to do, how to do, in which manner they should talk. Then and there only their hesitation starts, and they are taught this because so that they can protect their family image. Women are usually given such a position of the family that from them only the family's culture
Gets
co-
projected into the society.
Yes, so the main hesitation among women is that they fear if their image or their family's image will be defamed, and most problems which women face is they don't get support from their family. That is why they are not able to approach the proper authority. Even the main problem is also they are not well aware of all their rights. So if the family support is there, they won't hesitate.
Okay. So that was quite insightful, because this is true. We girls from a very young age are told that you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. And in many cases we see that parents teach their girls, little girls, that if someone has misbehaved with them, touched them badly, they're told that not to tell it to anyone. Now the scenario is changing. We are getting to see so many cases being reported against the violators, but earlier that was a very grim case, I would say.
Even actually, uh, another big problem is our society, narrow thinking of our society. You can see even in rape cases, sometimes the society gives comments like maybe the girl's dressing sense was not correct,
Right.
or maybe the why did the girl go out late at night?
Yes.
Maybe she must have gone for office. But the problem is people think them in a negative way.
Right.
They think that the problem is with the girl.
Right.
So that is also big problem why girls hesitate.
What is the first step a little girl should take when she feels that her rights are being violated?
First of all, a girl should herself realize that which which all rights are affected or violated. First, she should realize, and then, if she is confused what to do, she can approach a legal practitioner, can take proper guidance from them how to take legal actions. But the first step is she must realize herself that she has a right and that is getting violated. She is facing something which is wrong.
So, another very important aspect that society sees or says for women, that it is women getting married at any age, be it at any age. It is society sees marriage as a very important institution for women. In marriage, we see many associated things, and one of them is dowry. What exactly qualifies as dowry under Indian law?
Dowry is well defined in the Dowry Prohibition Act, which says that any property or any valuable security or cash or any article which is demanded by the husband or his family, either during the time of the marriage, before the marriage, or at any time after the marriage, constitutes dowry.
Okay. So that is a very important thing for people to know, because many people think that dowry is only something that the groom's family is given right before the marriage, or while the engagement process is going on. But they don't realize, many people don't realize that it also constitutes as dowry when the marriage is already over, and it's even in the. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Any time after the marriage, even after 10 years of marriage, or 12 years of marriage, or even 50 years of after 50 years of
Okay.
marriage.
All right. So what is Section 498A of IPC, and how does it protect women?
Section 498A of IPC, which is now Section 85 of the new Act BNS,
Okay.
is basically to protect women who are facing cruelty. This section provides punishment for the husband and his parents, his relatives, for cruelty. And the most important essence of this section is that any woman, what I mean exactly is any woman of any age who is facing cruelty can file a case under this section. Maybe of 50 or maybe of 60. If she is facing cruelty, she can file case under this section. Even harassments for dowry can also come under this section.
Okay. So, what are the immediate steps that should be taken by women when dowry demands begin in the first place?
First of all, women should understand that any unlawful demands of husband or his family need not be fulfilled. They should understand that all the demands are not necessary to be fulfilled, specifically unlawful demands. And if there is any kind of demand by the husband or his family, the woman should first communicate to their parents, family, talk to them, and the family should support the woman. Then they should sit and talk if they can resolve it by just talking or having a discussion on it. And if after that also the husband's family are not agreed upon the discussion, then the woman can file the dowry case.
So, ma'am, today in today's society, we have seen many times that people use the term gifts. Okay, so how exactly do you differentiate between dowry and gifts? Because many people do not even realize that it is the thing that you said about some unlawful demands of the
Yes,
in laws.
yes.
So, how does someone define between lawful and unlawful demands of someone, especially when it concerns the in laws? Because in Indian society, a marriage breaking apart is a very shameful thing, and society still shames the couple or especially a woman. So, how does she protect herself from that? And how does she define the differentiation between lawful and unlawful?
When parents give something with their happiness to their daughter, that is her stridhan, that is gift. But if something is demanded by the husband, may it be a car, may it be cash, even bed, TV, any article which is demanded by the husband for the purpose of marriage, that is dowry. But if parents of the girl, they are giving something with their wish, that can be gift. But anything which is demanded by the husband is dowry.
Okay, so the girl's family or parents, anybody that gifts anything of their own wish is gift, and that will not be considered as dowry
No,
or a punishable act.
yeah,
But
definitely.
anything demanded by the husband or his
Husband.
family
Yes.
would be dowry. Okay, so how can a woman prove dowry harassment? Because sometimes, even the groom's family say that, why don't you gift this to your daughter? So when it is being phrased like that, it's a very different thing they're saying. But the insinuation is very different here. Okay, so how is that going to be dealt with?
Actually, this is the role of the woman. She should deny that no, I don't want to take anything. I don't want my parents to give anything. And even if the husband is demanding through the girl has to oppose that. The girl has to raise voice for that. And the most important thing is, after marriage, if the girl is facing any kind of harassment due to dowry, she needs to be very alert. Alert as in she can record them, maybe audio, maybe video, or if she is facing any kind of physical abuse, photographs of it, and she needs to communicate them to her parents or friends or closed ones, so that for later on she can use this as evidence to prove her case, and which makes the case stronger. This is because practically these things help, not any law, but these kind of evidences help to make the case stronger.
But there is another thing that abuse kind of walks along with asking for dowry. It's when it is normally seen that when a family demands for dowry, it is not with a good intention. Oftentimes, women are abused, be it emotionally, be it physically. So, related to that, I would like to ask you, so what does legally come under domestic violence? Is it only physical abuse that is considered as domestic violence?
No, not exactly. Obviously, not only physical abuse, even under Domestic Violence Act, the domestic violence is also defined very well, which includes emotional abuse, mental abuse, and even economic abuse, and also sexual abuse. So,
Yes.
not just a physical abuse.
Since, ma'am, we are talking about domestic abuse, and you said that physical abuse, for that we can provide evidence of pictures or videos or audios, how can we prove emotional or mental abuse as domestic abuse?
Mental abuse, let me give you one example.
Mm-hmm.
If the husband demands dowry and it is not fulfilled, and he starts hurting his wife, like he stops giving food or he stops talking to her,
Silent treatment,
silent
stonewalling.
treatment. So, there also a woman is mentally tortured.
Hmm.
So, that also constitutes of mental abuse.
Right.
And these things need not be proved through any evidence. It's
Mm-hmm.
enough for a woman to express her feelings, how she has been tortured mentally. So, this can be a way.
Since you mentioned about sexual abuse as one of the forms of abuse in a marriage, can marital rape be considered as cruelty?
Yes, marital rape can be considered as cruelty as it falls under sexual abuse
Mm-hmm.
because marital rape does not itself constitute as criminal offense. But yes, another provision is also there in IPC as well as in BNS that if husband has sexual intercourse forcefully with his wife, specifically when they are living separately or they are under judicial separation, then that is punishable under BNS or IPC.
So, if a husband forces himself on his wife to have sexual intercourse during the time they're staying together, that would not be considered as marital rape?
No, that will not be considered as marital rape.
Mhm.
It's not a crime, it's not punishable. But yes, it falls under sexual abuse under DV Act, Domestic Violence Act.
Right. Okay. What are the orders that a court can grant under the DV Act?
There are several orders the court can grant under the DV Act, which are also mentioned under the DV Act from section 18 to 23, which includes protection orders, residence orders, custody orders, monetary reliefs, compensation orders, even interim maintenance orders, and many more.
So, can a woman file a complaint while she is living with her husband's family or in his home?
Yes, definitely. Under the DV Act itself, she has been given the protection that no one can evict her or exclude her from the shared household of her husband or in laws when she is in a domestic relationship. So, yes, definitely she can complain without leaving the domestic house.
Okay. And how does long these DV cases usually take?
As per law, it has been provided 60 days for disposing of the domestic violence case,
Mhm.
but practically it's not possible because it depends upon the case. It varies according to circumstances of the case. Moreover, it is appealable order, so it takes time, maybe years together, maybe months together.
So, based on this, my first question would be, what are the legal rights of a woman in a marriage?
Whenever a marriage solemnizes, a woman gets various rights
Okay.
within that marriage, such as right to residence, right to be maintained, right to husband's property, right to her parental property, right to bodily autonomy, and most importantly, right to economic independence. And if she faces any kind of cruelty or domestic violence, she can file against cruelty or domestic violence.
Okay. So, now that you mentioned about financial independence, can a husband stop a woman or his wife, to be precise, stop her from working legally?
No, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely illegal
Okay.
because our constitution itself ensures that every individual, every citizen of India, including the married woman, can carry on any profession.
Mm-hmm.
So, if a husband stops his wife, then definitely he is violating the fundamental right of the woman. If a woman faces such kind of problem, then she can approach magistrate for protection orders.
Okay. So, regarding protection, it is often seen in a marriage that husbands get violent with their wives when they do not do I mean, women are often expected to obey their husbands in a marriage, but when the husband asks of something irrational, like leaving a job or some other thing, the woman or the wife does not comply, the husbands become very aggressive towards them and even pose physical threat. So, what can a woman do in such a situation when the marriage becomes unsafe for her?
When a marriage becomes unsafe, then they first need to try to make it safe. Why did I say this? Because there are some provisions under Hindu Marriage Act, such as restitution of conjugal rights
Mm-hmm.
and judicial separation, which actually gives a chance to the couples to sit and talk, try to resolve their problems. But of course, if they are not able to do so, then divorce is the only option.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I would like to add, if she is being stopped from working, then
Mm-hmm.
that will also constitute to mental abuse or emotional abuse, even economic abuse under the Domestic Violence Act.
Okay. Now that we are talking about financial independence for women, it is essential for them to have a source of income. Now, every woman is not a business owner. They also go and work at other companies, at other workplaces. Their protection at workplaces. What is the POSH Act?
It's prevention, prohibition, and redressal.
Mm-hmm.
It basically protects those women who are working,
Mm-hmm.
and it protects the working woman from sexual harassment at workplaces.
So, does it only apply to women, or does it apply to both men and women when it comes to workplaces and POSH Act?
No, it only applies to women.
Okay. So, what exactly constitutes as sexual harassment at workplaces? Is it only physical or it can also be verbal?
Both. It can be physical, it can be verbal. As per law, sexual harassment basically means any kind of unwelcoming sexual behavior, such as showing or sending pornographic videos, or odd touching, or pinching, even when a person looks at a woman from top to bottom and the woman feels uncomfortable, that also constitutes sexual harassment.
Okay. So, these are very distinctive. What are the subtle things that also can be considered as sexual harassment that most of the women do not know about?
Like sexually colored remarks,
Mm-hmm.
which a woman doesn't want to hear or she is uncomfortable. For example, if someone is saying her that you are looking sexy today, which she is uncomfortable, she feels uncomfortable, that can be a sexual harassment to her.
Okay. What exactly is internal complaints committee?
Posh Act has made it mandatory for all the government as well as the private establishments, entities having 10 or more employees to have a internal complaints committee where the women, those who are facing sexual harassment at workplace, they can go and file complaints, and the exact role of the committee is to investigate the matter, try to solve the matter.
So, when a woman complains through these ICC in workplaces or any other institution, can she be given the surety that she would stay anonymous? We see many cases where the perpetrator or the person that is being complained against taking it out or being revengeful towards the one complaining. So, would the woman's anonymity would be secure?
Yes, definitely, she can.
So, another major topic is rights of women at workplaces. Are women entitled to equal pay at workplaces?
Yes, definitely. Our constitution itself ensures that equal pay for equal work, which ensures the payment for male and female equally.
What is the legal working hour protection?
Generally, it is 8 to 9 hours for a woman, and a woman cannot be forced to work between 7 pm to 6 am. But Again, it varies from establishments to establishments, like as per the terms and conditions of the employment. If the woman has agreed during her joining, then it may vary.
And in many cases, we see that women are denied promotions compared to their male colleagues or co workers. What can a woman do in such situations? Is it legal?
No, it's completely illegal because it violates one of the fundamental right of the woman. So she can raise her voice in office if she wants, or else she can approach a legal practitioner and take legal assistance from him and approach the proper authority for that.
Another issue that women face is during their pregnancy while working. So, what are the maternity benefits that are guaranteed under the law for working women?
Our constitution ensures maternity reliefs for women, from which Maternity Benefit Act has derived, and this act guarantees that a woman can take 26 weeks, that is almost 6 months of fully paid maternity leave, and a woman can also claim for 12 weeks, that is almost 3 months of maternity leave in case of adoptive or surrogatory mother. And even there is another provision under which a woman can also claim for 6 weeks maternity leave in case of miscarriage or medical termination. And also, even a woman can claim for extra 1 month of paid leave in case of any kind of illness or health issues arising out of the pregnancy or delivery.
Okay.
So these are the rights.
I'm talking about the sick leave. Is it only applicable to the woman, or if the child also gets sick, that she can apply for this extra 1 month of paid leave?
No, this actually applies only to the women.
Okay. Can a company demote the woman during her pregnancy or terminate her employment at the end of maternity leave?
If reason is something else, then yes. But if the reason is due to her pregnancy or due to her maternity leave, then definitely no. It's completely illegal and violative of her rights. And if she faces any kind of such problem, then she can complain to Chief Labor Commissioner.
So another thing today that is very common or in rise especially or in trend is that creche facilities at working places. So is it mandatory for companies to provide creche facilities to women who want to avail them and bring their child to the office?
Usually all establishments doesn't follow them, but yes, under POSH Act there is a provision that if any establishment, may it be government or private, having 50 or more employees, must have a crèche facility, and even the mothers are allowed to visit the crèche 4 times a day, including their rest intervals. Even another provision is there which empowers the mothers to go and visit 2 times a day their child if the child is only 15 months old.
Okay. Let's move on from this and go to a topic that is that is kind of very discussed these days and is still seen as a social stigma, is divorce and maintenance. So what are the grounds that are valid for divorce in India especially?
There are several grounds mentioned under Section 13 of the Hindu Marriage Act, which both husband and wife can avail for, such as adultery, cruelty, desertion, conversion, civil death, or venereal disease, or even non compliance of restitution of conjugal rights, or non resumption of cohabitation after the decree of judicial separation has been rescinded. And there are also 4 specific grounds which a woman can avail for divorce,
Okay.
such as rape or sodomy, or non resumption of cohabitation after the decree of maintenance, or bigamy, or attainment of puberty.
So what is atonement of puberty out of the things that you mentioned now?
Sometimes it's seen that marriages are made by the parents,
Uh-huh.
and during that time, the girls may not have attended 15 years of age. So, after the attainment of 15 years of age, but before 18 years of age,
Uh-huh.
if the girl wants, she can repudiate her marriage. So,
Okay.
that comes under attainment of puberty.
All right. Thank you. Another very discussed topic is maintenance or alimony when we talk about divorce. So, what exactly is maintenance or alimony?
Maintenance is the monthly payment made to a woman as per the orders of the court to meet her daily expenses or her day to day livelihood. Whereas alimony is a lump sum amount which is paid to the wife at once for one time of settlement during divorce.
Okay, so is it only exclusive to women, the maintenance and alimony, or is it also that women would be at some cases be bound to pay it to their husbands?
Yes, this is a very good question. Many men do not know about this, but under section 24 and 25 of the Hindu Marriage Act, men can also ask for maintenance,
Okay.
and maintenance is paid during the pendency of the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, if the husband is unable to bear the expenses of the cases or the advocate's fee, then the husband can also demand for maintenance
Mm-hmm.
from his wife.
Okay.
And even for permanent alimony, the husband can also file for permanent alimony.
Okay.
So it's basically not for women only, men can also avail.
Okay, so from this, I would like to ask you another question that is related to particularly this. One thing that you mentioned is that though if the husband is unable to pay the legal fees of the lawyer or the court or whatever it is, then he can avail it from the wife. All right, or
Yes,
someone that he is in the
definitely.
process of divorcing.
Yes, definitely.
Is it also applicable to women if they are unable to pay their legal fees and other expenditures?
Exactly. Uh, it comes under maintenance only.
Okay,
Section 24 is exactly
okay,
maintenance pendency light, which means during the pendency of the suit, any kind of expenses which the woman cannot bear, the husband has to pay.
okay.
Basically, the provision says that either of the party.
Mm-hmm.
So, either of the party means either the woman or the husband.
So, how long exactly these divorce cases take to get finished or come to a term?
It actually varies from case to case
Mm-hmm.
depending upon the facts and circumstances of the case. It cannot be disposed of within certain particular days. It may take months together or years together. I have been seeing cases from 1990s in court still pending. So
Wow, that's a long time.
yeah, so it takes a long time actually.
Yeah.
It cannot, yeah, but if the divorce is mutual divorce, then it can be disposed of within 6 months, or if the 6 months period is already over, they are living separately, then within 6 months, the mutual divorce cases can be disposed of.
Okay. So, the thing that you said about divorce cases taking as long as 20 to 25 years, you just mentioned about
Yes,
cases you are still seeing today that are
yes.
dated back to 1990. So, thing is, can these people live separately with other people while this divorce case is going on and it has taken so long, or is it illegal?
Actually, it is illegal,
Okay.
but in many cases, parties are doing that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's illegal.
Another major thing that is related to divorce is an involvement of child. How is custody exactly decided?
Actually, in India, child custody is governed by various laws depending upon the religious laws and their personal circumstances.
Okay.
For example, the child custody is ruled by Muslim laws and Hindu Marriage Act, etc.
So, one thing women face issues is related to property and inheritance, especially after marriage. Do daughters have equal rights to their ancestral properties?
Yes, definitely they have. Previously, it was not there, but after the 2005 amendment, the daughters are also treated as co partners like the son, so they have the right in their ancestral properties.
Okay. And what rights does a woman have to her husband's property?
She has absolute rights in her husband's property.
If a woman during marriage brings something from her home, as you had mentioned earlier about Stridhan, when her family gifts her something, especially for her, then how does a woman get to protect it?
Stridhan is protected under a provision that is Section 14 of the Hindu Succession Act, which gives the absolute right to the woman only.
Okay.
So, if she wants, she herself can obstruct the husband from using those articles or the property.
Okay.
And moreover, it is suggestive to the parents that when they are gifting any kind of immovable property, such as land or anything, to their daughters, they should give it in the name of the daughter only.
Okay. So, how does a woman prove that it is Stridhan? For an example, if it is an ancestral piece of jewelry, it doesn't have a bill. How is it proven that it was a Stridhan?
Basically, anything gifted to her during her marriage by her parents, even by relatives, or even by the husband and husband's relatives, all of those gifts constitute as Stridhan. So, when it comes on any jewelry, if the bill is there with the parents, then it is an evidence to prove, or else it's enough for a wife to say that this is gifted by my parents or this is gifted by my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Only the statement of the wife is enough.
Okay. One topic that let's discuss right now that concerns most of the youngsters these days. It's about cyber harassment and online abuse. My first question to you would be is that what is it for a woman to do when her private pictures get leaked?
If a woman's private picture is leaked, then first of all, don't panic.
Mhm.
You have many legal options. You can go and register complaint in the cybercrime police station. After that, it is the duty of the police to investigate, and they first of all delete all the pictures from the wave. And even when the accused is found out, he is punished under the IT Act or BNS.
So, how does someone file a cyber complaint?
It is very much similar like an FIR. You can give it written. You have to mention all the circumstances and facts, but in brief, the date, time, and if you have any kind of evidence, screenshots or videograph, you can attach them and simply go and file in the cybercrime police station. And if still you are confused, you can also take the help or guidance from a legal practitioner.
So, there are many people who receive threats over social media. So, can they be prosecuted?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So, to prove this, what are the evidences that need to be preserved so that it could be proved that they have been harassed or threatened at some point?
Any kind of videographs, photographs, or screenshots, or any kind of document which is related must need to be preserved.
Okay. Another case that involves youngsters is live in relationships in today's world. So, are live in relationships recognized by the Indian law?
Yes, definitely. Supreme Court nowadays, in many cases, have given recognition to live-in relationships.
And what are the rights of a woman in a live in relationship?
Uh, Women can avail almost all the rights as that of a woman in marriage, like such as right to maintenance, and even can file for domestic violence in live-in relationship.
So, how does a woman prove that she was in a live in relationship with someone?
For establishing a live in relationship, there are certain conditions as per the guidelines of Supreme Court, such as they must be unmarried,
Mm-hmm.
they must be adults above the age of 18,
Okay.
they must be living together under one roof or in some common shared household, and they must be having social recognition. For example, they are going to market like husband and wife, and most importantly, they must be living together for a significant duration, not just one night stand or for 1 week. So significant duration is must.
Okay. Another important aspect of live in relationships is children. How does the law protect the children born in live in relationships?
Supreme Court in many cases has already said that the children born out of the live-in relationship shall be presumed as legitimate, and they have all the rights to maintenance and inheritance also.
Okay.
So they can also inherit from their parents.
We discussed about abuse, harassment, rape, marital rape. So everything it all comes down to complaining. Okay. So what is the correct process to file an FIR?
FIR can be given both orally or in writing. If it is given orally, then it is again reduced to writing by the police. In FIR, you don't have to mention everything elaborately. It's not an encyclopedia. You just have to mention the occurrence briefly, time, place, and date of occurrence. And if you know the name of the accused, then the name of the accused must be mentioned properly.
So can police at any point refuse to file an FIR?
No, actually, police cannot refuse to receive an FIR. Police must receive the FIR, and if any cognizable offence has been found or disclosed from the FIR, then police shall register the FIR, and if any non-cognizable offence is disclosed from the FIR, then the police shall not register the FIR. Rather, the police has to make a station diary entry
Mm-hmm.
for non-cognizable offences.
Okay.
And for usually it is advisable to take a legal practitioner with you so that you can distinguish whether the offense is cognizable or non-cognizable, and accordingly police takes actions.
Okay. So what is a zero FIR?
Actually, FIR is usually lodged in the police station having jurisdiction, but sometimes due to conflict of borders or conflict of jurisdiction, a person, a common man, is unaware of the jurisdiction of the police station. So, a person can lodge FIR in any police station, and after that, the police shall transfer the FIR to the appropriate police station. Such type of FIR is known as zero FIR.
Okay.
It actually came from the case, the famous case, Nirbhaya gang rape case. It derived from that only,
Mm-hmm.
because at that time in that case, it was the jurisdiction of the police station was not known properly. So they had to give the FIR in a police station which was not appropriate, but again the FIR was transferred to the appropriate police station.
Okay. So, is it essential for women to always bring their lawyer to a police station when filing an FIR?
It's not always necessary,
Mm-hmm.
but it is advisable to take a legal practitioner with them so that if they are confused why the police officer is not registering the FIR, or why the police officer is making a station diary entry only, then the legal advisor can guide them properly.
So, what are the documents that women need to carry, especially when they're going to file an FIR?
Actually, no documents is required during filing of lodging of an FIR.
Mm-hmm.
But if the victim is a minor, then the victim should be accompanied with her parents, and they should take the birth certificate or some kind of evidence relating to her age.
So, when women file legal complaints against their husbands or their partners, it's usually the families that ask them not to go forward with the legal procedure or to settle outside of legal proceedings. So, is mediation safe in domestic violence cases, especially?
Yes, it is definitely safe, and we have also seen many successful cases. So it's actually better if the case gets solved in mediation so that a family won't break. There are many successful cases.
Okay. What are the key laws in India that are protecting women against sexual assault?
There are many provisions under IPC as well as PNS, such as outraging modesty or voyeurism, stalking, sexual harassment by a man, or rape, even 498A. So, when a woman faces any kind of sexual harassment, then she can approach the proper appropriate authority, 354 of IPC for sexual harassment, and we all know 376 for rape,
Right.
and for cruelty 498A.
Okay. So, what exactly should a woman do immediately after she has been sexually assaulted? Even though it is a very difficult phase or a situation that any woman goes through, but what can she do immediately that can prove the sexual assault or establish evidence that she has been violated?
First of all, the woman who is a victim of sexual harassment, she has to gather courage and need to go to police station for filing an FIR. If she is not in a stage to go to police station, then she can also dial 181, which is for women helpline, and can also take help of any legal practitioner and go and file FIR. And it is very much important that she should go for medical examination.
Mm-hmm.
And it is true that the victim cannot be forced for medical examination. Medical examination is always done with her consent.
Okay.
But if she denies, it may have some adverse effect on her case.
Okay.
So it is advisable that first she should go for medical examination and then lodge an FIR.
Okay. So, how is victim identity is protected in these cases?
Nowadays, Supreme Court has already said in many orders that the victim's identity must be hidden. Nowhere the victim's identity can be disclosed.
Okay. So, again, coming back to women's independence, especially when we are talking about financial independence, now that we are seeing that often on online platforms, women talk about keeping their bank accounts separate. They suggest that the husband and wife should have their separate bank accounts and one joint account for household expenditures. So, why is it essential in marriages?
She must have a separate account, especially her salary account must be separate. She can have a joint account, but not exactly the salary account. It is very much essential so that she can protect her money from being misused by her husband or in laws.
Mm-hmm.
And by this way, she can also secure her financial independence. She will not have to be dependent on anyone else.
Right.
And it can also help her to avoid financial manipulation by husband.
Okay. So now that we have spoken about so many cases and so many instances, there are some cases that we also have come across where women have filed false cases. And are there any penalties for them?
No, not exactly. There is no such provision for false allegations by women. But yes, there are some provisions in general, like defamation, which a husband can avail for. But I would suggest that women should not misuse the woman centric laws,
Right.
as it affects many genuine cases.
True. Yeah, it does project a very bad light on
Exactly.
them.
Many
Yeah.
genuine cases get neglected or get
Hmm.
affected, moreover, gets affected due to these false allegation
Hmm.
cases.
Right. So, moving on to another thing is that in rural areas, women do not have much knowledge about their rights or legal steps that they can take against abuse or violation or anything. So, what are the steps that can be taken to improvise awareness in those areas?
Nowadays, government is doing many campaigns in rural areas for the awareness, and even many NGOs are also doing, and also legal practitioners and are also doing, so that they can give legal advices then and there.
Mm-hmm.
But I would suggest meetings to be held more often in regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
so that people would know, come to the meetings, attend them, and they would know their rights
Right.
and how they are violated and what are the legal steps or legal actions they can take.
Okay. Thank you. So, according to your suggestion, what are the documents that women should possess?
uh, there are many documents which women need to keep with them, such as Aadhaar card, PAN card, passport. Most importantly, if they possess any kind of property, then those property documents. If they are married, then marriage certificate, and birth certificate. And if they have any kind of insurance policies, those documents must be there with them, properly
Mm-hmm.
circulated.
So let's bring this discussion to an end. I'm sure our viewers got to learn a lot from you today. So, what is the one advice that you would like to give to the women?
My first advice to the women is they must know all their rights. Then they can understand if any of their rights are being violated.
Hmm.
And women should be always alert in the sense that if they are facing any kind of assault or abuse, they must be ready to videograph it or audio
Mm-hmm.
or photograph it. My advice to parents is also that they should support their daughters when
Hmm.
they are facing any kind of
Right.
assault.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, dear viewers, I think you got to learn a lot about legal rights, procedures, women's rights. So, let's thank lawyer Samarpita Das for her time and her valuable insights.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned to OTV English podcast. We will bring you another episode with more information and insights. Thank you.